Man, what a year 2018 was. I'm sure most of you were there for it anyway. The memes were ridiculous. You had spaghetti, steamed hams, Tide Pods, Ugandan Knuckles, Thanos Car, Bowsette, Logan Paul. Like, we thought the letter E was hilarious. Me personally, the year was alright. I know who asked. I was in school being a pain in the teachers' asses, hanging with friends, and of course, making the Engines of Amtrak parody series that only a person that was baked out of their mind would think is funny, which I did a little that year. Ah, man, that was weird times. Alright, so getting to the point, railfanning in the tail end of the 2010s was still awesome. You had all of the CN-8s still in service, more or less, a few more fallen flag engines kicking around, and in the case of this video, leaser engines on the Canadian National Railway. I'm the Winnipeg you already know who I am. Let's get right into the locomotives that CN leased back in 2018. In short, to my knowledge, the year before, CN had finally retired more of their older power before the start of a new order of GEVOs, of course, were set to arrive on the roster the following year. These units in question were the GMD SD60Fs. Units 5500 to 5563 were one by one pulled off the active roster and stored at different yards across the CN system, like for example Symington Yard here in Winnipeg, Walker Yard in Edmonton, and Homewood, Illinois. Luckily, a few 60Fs, including the first two of the original 4 SD50AFs, were sold to short lines across the US. The rest of them were killed. They killed them. Alright, now to talk about most of the types of engines that CN leased. Built between 1984 and 1995, the SD60 was a hit for EMD after the miss that was the SD50. The one example I saw in March of 2018 or so, I think it was March, was CEFX 6020. Built in 1987 as one of the Sioux Line's 58 units, it and 21 others, 6000 to 6020, were bought off CP by CEFX. This one in particular was sold again to GREX as their Unit 1010, which I actually spotted last fall in CP's Weston shops. The 70M-2 is the DC traction version of EMD's popular SD70ACE model. It was built between 2004 and 2011. The ones CN leased were the ones owned by CIT, and at one point leased by the Florida East Coast. The one I got a glimpse at while driving past CN's Symington Yard was CITX 141, built in 2004 as EMDX Unit GM75. I'm not sure where it is now. The last pic of it was from May of 2019. Probably in storage somewhere. The 70 Mac is just an SD70 with a wide cab and AC traction. That's pretty much it. The one unit I managed to catch by surprise was PRLX 9555 in the Grindstein or Executive scheme, built in 1994 as Burlington Northern 9555, later BNSF, and then around 2017 it was sold to PRLX. The EMD SD75M, built between 1994 and 1996, was a higher horsepower version of the SD70i, not to mention it features an isolated cab to reduce noise and vibration. I managed to catch a couple on video, including PRLX 201 and 219, built as Santa Fe 201 and 219 respectively, before becoming BNSF 8201 and 8219, later going back to the 200 series before being sold off. With these two, nobody's really documented them after 2018, so I don't know where they are as of now. Probably just stored somewhere. Or roaming the Norfolk Southern system because their power shortage is never ending. Yes, these guys were the most prevalent of the leasers that year. The Dash 8s were built between 1983 and 1994, with the wide cabs being built starting in 1987. After CSX and UP were done with most of theirs, some were sold to GE to be leased under GECX to other railways like CN. A few examples of ones I saw were GECX 7303, 7330, 7785, 7303, and 7303 again. Wow, okay. 7303, which I saw the most, was built in 1990 as Conrail 6055, 7330 was built in 1991 as Conrail 6128, and 7785 was built in 1992 as never mind, just CSX 7785. What's hilarious is that two of CSX's rare sticker units, 7332 with a Seaboard System sticker, and 7376 with the Chesapeake and Ohio sticker, were sold off to GECX. Like, these units were repainted to the latest YN3B scheme, given special stickers, and then immediately sidelined and sold off. I love PSR so much, like, words cannot describe how much I just love precision scheduled railroad. The AC 4400, built between 1993 and 2004, was pretty much the AC Traction Dash 9. And y'all already know how popular the Dash 9 was, so I don't have to say much more. Now, these usually were more common on CP back in the day, but CN leased a few of the CEFX AC 44s. I managed to get a video of 1014 at Beach Junction heading into Symington on a 198, I think. It was one of their earlier units, 1001 to 1025, built to Union Pacific specs. Wow, okay, alright. Of course, 1014 is now NS 3982. I hate you, NS. Ah yes, the C-Rex units. The ES44AC, built between 2003 and, well, right now I guess, is the modern day backbone of North American railroading. These units, owned by Citicorp or City Rail, were built between 2012 and 2015, I believe. I managed to catch a couple on video, including CREX 1214, 1505, and 1523. And guess what? They're all still on CN now. In 2021 or 22, I can't really remember, CN bought like all of the City Rail GEVOs, like all of them. I thought maybe a few escaped and are still leasers, but nope. Oh, but what about their first unit, 1201? Nope, CN 2750. Random unit, 1519? Yep, CN 3974. 1413? Yeah, CN 2788. You get the point. Every single one of them. Like, CN probably just could have bought new ones, but you know, it's CN, and you know, CN does CN things. I mean, on a positive note, when they were just coming back onto the roster for good, the C-Rex units were a nice change of pace from the standard red, white, and black GEVOs. Finally, we got the goddamn Tier 4 GEVOs. GE started building demonstrators around 2012, 2013-ish apparently, but they didn't enter production until about 2015 or so. It's so weird, I vividly remember making a big deal about them in early 2016 when they were just rolling out onto CN. These were among the first leasers I saw that year. In fact, GECX 2035 was the very first I saw in like January or so. I ended up seeing a few throughout the year, including 2034, 2040, and 2043. Oh, guess what? A majority of these guys are still on CN's roster today. A handful have been renumbered and repainted, while I think there's like 2 Bluebirds left that CN bought. I've seen a couple in recent times, and it's always nice to see something different on CN. Well, until they repaint them, that is. So by the end of the year and into early 2019, CN had sent most of them back to GE and Progress Rail. By then, the new order of GEVOs, the 3100 series Tier 4s, and the brand new ES44 3800s, had been added to the active roster. There were a few ET44s and C-Rex units kicking around, but for the most part, it was just back to regular CN programming. Anyways, that's pretty much it. This is another case of it sounded better in my head. I just kind of wanted to ramble about one of the few reasons why 2018 was an awesome year. Otherwise, thanks for watching, comment, like, and subscribe, join the channel as a brother of the bushes, and I'll see you in the next train video coming, I don't know, as soon as we colonize Mars. This is the Winnipeg Railfan saying good afternoon, good evening, and
good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.